Travis Getty's writing over at Raw Story. I just could read this straight up. Keep in mind, Sandra Bland ended up dead because she dared to talk back to a police officer who had pulled her over for changing lanes without turning on her turn signal. And in fact, I think even saying that she dared to talk back to him would be an exaggeration. I think it's because she started recording him with her camera. I have no proof of that, although when she got out of the car, she had her camera phone with her. She had her cell phone with her. And she was, looking at it and talking to it as if she was recording it. And the police officer kept saying, and what's his name here? Brian Encenia kept saying, put down that phone, put down that phone. Actually, let's just, Jim, you've got that clip, right? Yeah, let's just play this thing. You can catch this for yourself. This is I want to know where this phone is.
I said get out of the car.
Why am I being apprehended? You
I'm giving you a lawful order. I'm going to drag you out of here.
So you threatening to drag me out of my own car?
Get out of the car!
And then
I will light you up. Get out!
Wow.
Now!
Wow.
Get out of the car!
Really, for a failure to signal. You're doing all of this for
Get
a failure
over there.
Right, yeah. Yeah, let's take this to court. Let's do
Go ahead.
For a failure to signal. Yep, for a failure to signal.
Get off the phone.
On my school.
Get off the phone.
I'm not on the phone. I have a right to record.
Put your phone
this is
down.
My property.
Put your phone down.
Sir?
Put your phone down. Right now. Put your phone down.
So where is that phone? So that's what happens if you're black and female and you encounter a white police officer in Texas. Here's what happens if you're white and male and you encounter a police officer in Texas. Travis Getty's writing this thing. He says, a white man wearing shorts and flip-flops carried a loaded AR-15. Now, the AR-15, this is what the Newtown shooter used to kill all those little children. It is basically it's the civilian version of the what is it, the M1, the whatever it is. I'm not a gun, pistols I know something about, but these weapons of war I don't know. But it's a weapon of war. It's an AR-15. Okay, a white man wearing shorts and flip-flops carried a loaded AR-15 to confront a black man who was protesting a Confederate memorial in a Texas town. The 69-year-old black activist who has protested the memorial for at least 15 years. This is a memorial to the Confederacy. Said a younger man openly carrying a rifle confronted him as he spoke cordially with another resident who supported the Confederate memorial, which has been vandalized earlier this morning with graffiti that says this is racist. The younger man, who later identified himself as 22-year-old Stephen Passarello, strode up to Hudspeth and Adam Rinkloff while carrying the military-style rifle and shouted, "Counter-protest!" Hudspeth said Passarello made him nervous enough to call 911, so he calls a police officer. Hudspeth, who has lived in Denton since 1970, said he's protested at the memorial at least 50 times since 2000, when he began lobbying county commissioners to remove the statue. Police arrived shortly after that and told Passarello, white guy with loaded AR-15, who's counter-protesting the black guy who's protesting the Confederate memorial, said he needed a sling for his weapon so it would be more difficult to steal. You are talking to a black guy, of course. Got to be careful. He might steal your gun. Passarello says, I was encouraged to open carry with a sling, although it wasn't required. I was told that I could stay, but they would appreciate it if I'd get my sling so people wouldn't feel so threatened. Right. He said he carried the loaded weapon to make a point. Never intended to shoot Hudspeth, who he dismissed. Hudspeth is the black guy who was protesting the Confederate memorial, who he dismissed as ignorant of history. Right, the black guy is ignorant of the history of the South. He was like angry and he was jostling the gun like this, Rinkloff said. He's talking about the white guy now. I don't know if he had the safety on. I don't know if the gun was going to go off at any moment. I would say he was pointing the muzzle toward people as he talked. I was worried. Screen captures circulating on social media appear to show Passarello making racist comments on Facebook. Get the effing lynching ropes out, Passarello said during a discussion of a black suspect and a white victim. I'm tired of this BS. At least one caller complained to police about the open carry protest, which drew 5 activists, but officers explained that their actions were legal under a recently signed Texas law. So, driving while black, in 3 days you're dead. Walking around with a loaded AR-15 and intimidating black people, police come and say, hey, you know, you really should put a sling on that thing because somebody might steal it. Right. Are we seeing what's going on here? Is white America starting to figure out what's going on here? You know, black people in this country have known for a long time, for as long as there have been black people in this country, have known what's going on here. But there's this incredible layer of insulation that is, you know, at the essence, the core of white privilege. And white supremacy. This doctrine of white supremacy, which was the basis for slavery. And now you've got, you know, Charles Murray, who co-authored The Bell Curve, which argues that blacks are genetically inferior to whites, was just cited a couple of weeks ago by Jeb Bush as a very smart man, or words to that effect. Really? I think Americans are starting to figure out what's going on here. White Americans. I hope so. You're allowed to terrorize as long as you're white. And I wonder what would happen. Remember back in the 60s, Bobby Seale shows up at the state capitol in California when Ronald Reagan is the governor with a bunch of Black Panthers, and they're carrying unloaded shotguns, but they're carrying shotguns, which was legal in California at the time, into the state capitol building, or up to the state capitol building. And immediately Governor Reagan, as soon as black people show up carrying unloaded shotguns, all of a sudden Governor Reagan is all about passing gun control laws. And within a year, some of the strictest gun control laws in the United States were passed in California. Because, oh my God, black people are showing up with shotguns? I wonder what would happen if the Bobby Seals of today were to show up in Austin with unloaded shotguns. Or apparently you can walk around with a loaded AR-15 actually in Texas, at least if you're white. Our country is at a real crossroads right now. And, you know, this is what Bernie Sanders said about this. He said, this video of the arrest of Sandra Bland shows totally outrageous police behavior. This is a United States Senator saying this, presidential candidate. No one should be yanked from her car, thrown to the ground, assaulted, and arrested for a minor traffic stop. The result is that 3 days later, she's dead in her jail cell. This video highlights once again why we need real police reform. People should not die for a minor traffic infraction. This type of police abuse has become an all too common occurrence for people of color, and it must stop. The only thing I'd add to that is that it has always been an all too common occurrence for people of color.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And it must stop.